Hello viewers, my greetings to you all. If you are working in network and security field, you should have heard this term Wireshark. And yes, I'm going to explain about Wireshark and some of its excellent features. To become a skillful network and security engineer, you must know Wireshark. No excuses. Wireshark is nothing but a packet sniffer, a tool used to sniff the network packets. Also, we can call it as a network analyzer tool. It can be a personal computer, laptop, mobile phone gadgets, printers, scanners, or some IoT devices, whatever the devices it may be. It contain at least one network interface card. By using that network interface card only, it communicates with other devices. Just for an example, I'll show the NIC card of this PC. You can see the list of available NIC cards in this PC. You can see multiple NIC cards here. That is because of the the virtualization softwares running on my machine. I'm running VMware and VirtualBox. That is why it generated its own NIC card. Also, I have wireless interface cards and LAN NIC card, Ethernet, and also the Bluetooth NIC card. From this PC, I can communicate with other devices by using any of these NIC cards. Now, let me briefly tell the relationship between the Wireshark and the NIC card. The Wireshark is analyzing the traffic that is flowing through the NIC card, network interface card. You may see the list of available network interface cards here. We can choose any of these network interface cards and see what are the traffics flowing through each of these NICs. Now no need to waste the time, let's jump in. I am pleased to introduce my network here to simulate the Wireshark. I am using a virtual PC, a simple virtual PC, and I have a Linux virtual machine. I connected both the devices by using a L2 switch, and from the L2 switch, I am consolidating both the traffics and passing it to the internet. Simple, isn't it? Okay. Now, before we are diving deep into the Wireshark, let me explain the two operational modes of Wireshark. And those modes are monitor mode and promiscuous mode. First, monitor mode. When you keep the Wireshark in monitor mode, Wireshark will only detects and accepts the traffic that belongs to that particular NIC alone. It will not consider the packets, the network traffic that addressed to other NICs. For example, assume in this network, what if we use hub instead of switch? Simple. Hub is an idiot. So it doesn't check any header details and take the forwarding decisions. It simply receives the traffic through one NIC and forwards the traffic through all other switch ports. The ports in the hub. So obviously, a hub connected device will be receiving unwanted traffics as well. The traffic that destined to other devices as well when the hub is dumping the traffic through all of its interfaces. If the hub connected device in monitor mode Wireshark capture, then it will ignore all other traffics, the traffic destined to all other NIC cards. But the promiscuous mode is straight opposite. It will accepts all the traffics, which means though the traffic destined to other NICs. If the interface kept in the promiscuous mode, it will accept all those traffics. Now let me show you what is the current mode of all these NICs. We can check it in capture option. When you see the capture options, it will show the mode the NIC card is in. Now you can see the promiscuous, the column, each interface is ticked with promiscuous mode. So all the interfaces are in promiscuous mode. So by default, all these network interface cards will receive all the traffics. Did you notice one thing here? The little spike. These spikes indicates the traffic flow, which means these network interface cards are currently being utilized, and that is what it says. Before start sniffing the network traffic, we can set few things to make our traffic more concise and granular. Let me show you that. In capture, before starting it, in options, when you see the output tab, we can define the file size and the packet size, the number of packets we need to capture. So when you set this up, once any of these conditions fulfilled, the packet capture will be stopped automatically, and it saves all those traffic in a new file. When you see the options, it will show the option to stop the capture automatically after fulfilling the certain condition. Next, let me introduce a filter called capture filter. This is the box to apply the capture filter. So before starting the packet capture itself, you will be able to narrow down the traffic that you are going to capture. Though you don't know how to enable this filter, you no need to be worried. You can simply click this green color tag mark. When you click this, it will show the available filters in the capture filter option. Though you have no idea how to enable this capture filter, no worries. When you click this green color tag mark, you will be able to see the list of available filters. These are some mandatory, not mandatory. These are some widely used filters. So you may use this filter just by clicking it. For example, if I click no broadcast and no multicast and click the network interface, it will bring me to the capture page. In this capture page, I am seeing the traffic. All these traffics are unicast traffic. There is no multicast or broadcast traffic because we already filtered it out by using the capture filter. I can just stop this capture by clicking the stop button. Then now if you want to change or modify this capture filter, you don't have an option to modify it here. You have no other choice. You need to reinitiate the packet capture. You need to close this capture, and from this starting window only, you will be able to enable the capture filter. Earlier I've shown the packet capture with capture filter. Now without any capture filter, let's see how huge the traffic it is. I'm just clicking the wireless interface. And getting into that, hope you can see the bunch of traffic entries. Hope you can see some ARP traffic here. Broadcast traffic. Since we didn't enable the capture filter to filter out the broadcast and multicast messages, it is showing the broadcast messages as well. When you fail to enable the capture filter, the number of packets captured will be very high. It will consume your space, so better try to enable the capture filter to narrow down the traffic that you want to filter. By default, the capture filters are in less number. You can create your own capture filter by clicking this manage capture filters option. Here you can see the list of available capture filters. By clicking the plus mark, you will be able to create your own capture filter. No capture filter. Let's see the traffic. I can see the bulk traffic here. No ARP traffic so far. I'm capturing the traffic of the VM8, the lab adapter. Let's initiate some traffic from this machine. So far, no IP. I'm trying to fetch the IP from DHCP. Now it will send the broadcast packets out. I'll be able to see those broadcast packets here. When I filter DHCP, I can see the broadcast packets. In these captures, we can also define the address formats that has to be shown. First, let's see this. In this packet, it's a broadcast traffic. When you see the source MAC address, it shows the host name of its manufacturer. When you see the broadcast traffic along with the broadcast MAC, it simply shows its name as a broadcast. We can rearrange that, we can redefine that. In view, when you click the name resolution, the resolve physical address is already checked. When you uncheck this, you will see the format got changed. Now it shows only the Ethernet physical address. It no longer shows the name of the address. Similarly, you can apply the format by clicking these options. You can define the format for physical address, IP address, also for the transport protocols. Let's check this and see whether we face any change. Now the ports are 67, 68 DHCP ports. You can see it's showing along with the protocol name. And let me show you another excellent feature. You can able to customize each and every protocol that we use in network. For that, you have to click and you need to go to the preferences. In preferences, when you click the down arrow to the protocols, you will be able to see the list of available protocols in the network. You will see every protocol here. By clicking one of those protocols, you will be able to modify its characteristics. For example, if I click the HTTP, I'll be able to edit its features. I can modify its port numbers, see all those TCP custom ports. Standard port, and other non-standard ports also. We have few other options to modify it. Let's see the ICMP. SSH, we can define the TCP ports for SSH. These features are absolutely brilliant. Now let's browse something from this Linux machine and see what are all the packets are captured. Let's open some websites. I already hit a website from the browser. Now let's strike Google DNS. I'm pinging it from the machine. Now let's analyze the traffic. The raw capture, when I click DNS, I can see some of the DNS queries that I generated. You can see the filter bar that I am enabling the filter called display filter. So when I clear this, you will be able to see the name of the filter, display filter. Let's click this and you can see the list of available filters. I can click manage display filters and I can generate a new predefined display filter. The filter you use often, you can able to create those such filters by using the manage display filter option. And the difference between the capture filter and display filter is, as I said before, the capture filter you have to enable before starting the capture. But when you started the capture and you want to change some filters modification, you want to modify some filters in between the capture, then you have to use the display filter. You can use the display filter anytime after initiating the capture and you will be able to modify the traffic that you are capturing. And another major difference is the display filter is more granular than capture filter. For example, let me show you a HTTP. If I click HTTP, I can see list of HTTP traffics that I am getting, and more specifically you can get some of the HTTP messages alone. For that, after a protocol, you need to click dot. When you click the dot, you will be able to see the list of available filters inside the HTTP traffic. For example, if I click HTTP request simply and strike the filter, it will give you the all the HTTP request messages alone. It will filter out the response and other messages. The display filter is insane indeed. Let me show you a few other things. You can see the panes here. There are 3 panes in this Wireshark page. The first pane displays the list of traffic entries, and the second pane, when you click a particular traffic, it will show the layered information, the layered detail of that particular packet. And below that, when you see the third pane, it will see the hexadecimal form of, and of course the message contains in that particular packet. Now I am at the beginning of the capture. You can see there are 7 columns here. The first column represents the number of packets that we captured. It counts from the 1, and when you scroll down, you can see the numbers that we captured, 54476. So these many packets we captured in this capture. And when you see the second column, it displays the time. It starts with 0. So the 0 indicates, the time starts when the packet capture started. So we captured this capture for 518 seconds. So until 518 seconds, this capture was running. And the third column is source and the destination. IP address, MAC address. It shows the source and destination details based on the layer. When you see the R packet, it is a layer 2 protocol. Hence, it shows the layer 2 source and layer 2 destination, the hardware address. When you take DHCP, it also functions in layer 3. Hence, it shows the layer 3 information as source and destination. And the next one is protocol. It will show the protocol details here in 5th column, and the 6th column is length. It shows the length of the particular packet, and the 7th column is information. It shows the information about the particular packet in human readable format. So when you read this information, you will be able to understand what that particular packet is for. Now let's start a new capture and see what happens. I'm not going to save it. Now the packet capture started. It starts from 1 and the time is 0. The time is calculated from the start of the packet capture. It captures all the traffics that is flowing through the interface VMnet8. And when the packet capture is running, you will not be able to save that file. For that, you have to stop the capture first, and then only you can save that capture. But if you want to reinitiate that, you can simply click the packet capture and it will ask the option for saving. I'm not saving it, then it will initiate the capture again. If you want to restart the capture, you can simply click this icon. It will start from the beginning. Now in this capture, the HTTP packet is being captured along with the TCP handshake. But if you have trouble to see each TCP packet to verify its content, there is an option to follow the TCP stream. For that, click any of the TCP traffic or HTTP maybe, and click follow and click TCP stream. When you do this, it will show the complete information captured in that TCP stream. The message indicates in the red shows the request, and the blue message indicates the response from the server. It shows the complete detail. Now I am closing it. You can see a capture, the capture filter, the display filter is enabled. You can change this stream number. If you change the stream number, it will show the data that belongs to the next TCP handshake, three-way handshake. You can also click 5. This is the 5th TCP handshake traffic. You can click follow and you can follow the TCP stream. When I click the HTTP and again do the same follow, I can able to see the HTTP stream also. HTTP message, the protocol is extremely dangerous. It sends all the traffic in the plain text. That is why I am able to see all the contents exchanged in this message. And when you are applying the display filter, you don't have any idea about the comment that you use to apply the filter, you can do one thing. You can simply click the parameter based on that you want to filter. I'm clicking the destination MAC address for example, and when I right click, I'll be able to see an option to apply it as a filter, apply as filter. When I select that, that particular destination MAC address alone got filtered. Now the traffic with this destination MAC address alone being displayed. And apart from the current ongoing capture, if you want to capture, if you want to analyze an already captured file, you have to close this and you can simply use an option to open, and you can import the file into this packet capture, and you will be able to analyze the already captured packet file. So this is the file, I already captured it. So with this packet capture, you can, by enabling the filters, you will be able to scrutinize all those traffics. Now let's move into the penultimate part. As a network engineer, you must know how to use Wireshark. Also, if you once get familiar with the Wireshark, you will be able to learn how each packet is flowing and how the network functions. Very useful tool, and it is totally free. You will be able to download the Wireshark for free. I am putting the URL in the description. You can go to the Wireshark site and you can able to download uh, all the versions of Wireshark. You can also refer some older versions of Wireshark if you like. And yeah, that's all I had to say. I hope this video has been informative and you learned something new from this video. If you really did, consider liking my video and hitting the subscribe button. Also, you can share this video among your friends who are working, who are trying to learn the network. This will be very useful for them. And yeah, that's all. I'll catch you up with another exciting video next time. Until then, signing off. Take care all. Bye.